switcheroonie tonight. It's like 7:52 right now, and I am in the midst of waiting for Maddie to drive home from Sioux Falls. She's on her way home. She just had her last final, and we tried to encourage her to just give it the night and like sleep in her dorm room one more night and drive home tomorrow morning after she woke up at her leisure. And she just really is ready to be home, and so she is driving home. She left school about an hour ago and should be here by about 10. And I am just terribly nervous. It always makes me nervous when people, especially young people who don't have a ton of driving experience, have to drive at night. And the route she takes, so it's a state highway, State Highway 29, almost the whole entire way from Sioux Falls down to Omaha. And it's just kind of, South Dakota is not very heavily populated, as you can imagine, and Nebraska is not all that populated, and a good portion of the trip is through Iowa, which western Iowa is not all that populated. And I worry so much about, hitting a deer or having a breakdown or hitting some black ice. The roads should be fine. We haven't had snow in about a week, but we've had freezing temperatures. Like the high hasn't even gotten up to 32 in probably a week or a week and a half. And like this morning here in town, we had heavy, heavy fog, which then on the bridges, because it was so cold, became ice. And there were terrible accidents all over town during rush hour this morning. So I kind of thought, I'm sitting here in the glow of the Christmas lights, which you can't see, and I've watched, I don't know, 3 or 4 different Flosstube videos, and I have painted some chalkboards, and I have done some stitching, and I have done laundry, and I've cleaned house, and I've done just about everything I can think of to do. And I still have 2 hours before she gets home, and I'm frankly just exhausted. And so I thought, well, I'll just really quick film my weekly video. So as far as stitching goes, I don't have anything specifically to show you. I finished last Thursday, starting at about 6:30, and it took me until 1. I finished 9 projects, FFO'd 9 projects, and 6 of them were for me and 3 of them were for Colleen. I will insert pictures because most of them have been sent off to their recipients. I actually may not insert pictures of all of them because okay, hold on just one second. The dog has his ball under the bench over here. Anyway, I may not show you all of them. Some of them are on their way to people, and it's obvious, kind of obvious who they're for, and so I may only show you the ones I finished for myself, which I think was 2. And then later, after people have received them, I can show you the other ones. But I have been up to stuff, and I thought I would just share with you really quick. Brian is coaching a basketball game. Actually, the game should be over by now, and he should also be headed home. So once he's home, I probably won't video, and I'll finish up tomorrow. This is really just totally a distraction video, I have to tell you. Anyway, if I can think about all of the ones that so one of the ones that I FFO'd was one I had finished stitching last year right after Christmas, and I never FFO'd it. And it was the Country Cottage Needleworks Main Street series, The Schoolhouse. I think that's Country Cottage. Is that Country Cottage or Little House Needleworks? I feel like it might be Little House. I can't remember which one it is. But anyway, it's The Schoolhouse. And so I did a complete Priscilla and Chelsea finish on this one, and I'm going to insert a picture here. And that one I finished for myself, and I have it up on a cabinet, kind of an antique cabinet, with some snowmen and a big Christmas wreath behind it. And I was telling somebody that the finishing on it looks like a 5-year-old did it. It's not quite straight. I struggled a little bit with the finishing on that, but it's done and it's okay, and you know, it's fine. I think I would like to do all of the Main Street series as one piece, and do them, you know, all the buildings kind of together as one piece. I think that would be a really beautiful finish. I don't know if you watch, I'm sure you do, but Stephanie, Miss Oh So Crafty, she is doing a Mill Hill Village. It's kind of a main street, but it's more of a maybe like early 20th century, late 19th century piece. The buildings are kind of old-fashioned, looking a little bit older than the Main Street series, and they're Mill Hill, and so they're heavily beaded, and she's doing it as one piece, and it is just stunning. I've thought many times that I would like to do that as well. Another one I did is I finished Ryan's ornament. Ryan, I did the sled dog from Prairie Schooler Button Up, which I bought from Misty Purcell from her Etsy shop, Luminous Fibers. And so I finished that up, and I'll show you that. I finished I did 3 of the little kind of vignettes from Button Up individually as ornaments, and I probably won't show you the other 2 that I did until those reach their recipients, but I loved how they turned out. I was really, really pleased. And so I did Ryan's the same way that I did the other 2, but I used felt rather than wool, sort of around it, and kind of framed the cross stitch, and oh, they turned out really cute. And then some Christmas fabric that Colleen and I ordered from a shop in Grand Island, Nebraska, that is just really this fabric. I'm gonna have to do something else with it. I think I have 2 yards of it, and I made sure that each of the cross stitch pieces have one word. So this is fabric that has words on it: hope, joy, love, and peace. And then it has the words, and they're kind of in larger font, and then it has the words to Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, which is one of my favorite Christmas songs, kind of in script sort of behind that. And so I made sure that each piece had one of the bigger words centered on the back, and I was very pleased with how those turned out. And that red matched the red felt that I put on the front almost to a T. So I'll show you a picture of Ryan's here. What else? Oh, I finished Peace for Me, and I painted a frame that I bought at Goodwill and stuck it in that, and I will show you a picture of it, but the frame is too small. I'm gonna have to reframe it, find something else. I do want it framed, but I'm gonna have to find something else to put it in because this frame is too small, and I just stuck it in it. It's not a FFO, so. So on top of that, I have been doing a little bit of needlework applique. I finished, and I posted this on Instagram in about a morning, a piece by Buttermilk Basin, which goes in the large, kind of a large metal tray. And I finished I think this is a kind of a block of the month or a series of the month. And I think this is probably the December piece. And so I will also insert a picture of that here. But I think most of you have seen it on Instagram and Facebook. And I did not hand stitch that. I got it all cut out and put together, and just decided I would put it on the machine and stitch it on the machine. And, you know, like I said, I was done in half a day. I started today. I have a really close dear friend who I've taught to crochet and I've taught to rug hook, and um, she's working full time, back to working full time, and she's expressed an interest in needlework applique, and I don't think she's really going to have time. And so I thought, and her birthday was last week, and so we usually celebrate her birthday and then Christmas in between Christmas and New Year's. And so we have another close friend who actually does both of our hair, who kind of introduced us. And so the three of us celebrate Christmas and Tammy's birthday in between Christmas and New Year's. And so I am doing this for Tammy's birthday, and it's just, I had it sitting here, so I thought I would show you. It's just kind of a runner, a two-ended runner with, and this was a kit that I got at Shanty Stitchers in Beresford, South Dakota. So it's just a very primitive, and then I'll put some kind of a backing on it, and she can throw it on her kitchen table. Here comes spring, or actually it's kind of Christmas color, so maybe she can do it a little bit before that. I had a really I had one of those moments today, and I think everyone has these occasionally, but I had one of those moments today that make me question, because I think partially because I've been around it so much, but make me question whether I'm getting a little bit of dementia. I don't think I am. I think I just have too many things going on at one time. But I finished up with work kind of early today. Work was late, so it was like a little bit after 8, you know, and I had been up since 5, and so I was finished working, and I was going to come downstairs and work on this, and I had just to stitch it. It was all put together. It was just needing to be stitched. And so I had my cup of coffee, and I had that, and I had my iPad, and I had probably my phone with me, and just several different things. And the dogs wanted to go outside. Well, Mia, our little Lasso Chihuahua mix, wanted to go outside, and it's been super cold, and we've had a hard time getting them out. Baxter's really good and has always been really, really good about going outside and just, you know, doing his business and coming right back in. But Mia kind of refuses to go outside. And so she was standing by the back door, and I thought, well, I'm going to let her out. And so as soon as Baxter heard the back door open, he came running downstairs and begged to go out as well. And in my mind, I thought I had let him out. So because it was like, I think it was 10 or 15 degrees as the feel-like temperature this morning, and I think that, or as the real temperature this morning, and I think the feel-like was close to 0, I was very cognizant that the dogs were outside and, you know, would need to be let back in pretty quickly. They can't be out there very long with that. And so pretty quickly Mia was at the back door, and I let her in, and then I went and made a cup of coffee and waited for a little bit to let Baxter in, and no Baxter, and that's just not like him. And so I looked in the backyard and went back out on the deck and called for him, and there's kind of some places that he could hide or, you know, get into where I wouldn't be able to see him. And so I went and got a bag of treats and took those out and shook those. I mean, he just heard me say that and perked up, but I couldn't find him. I could not find him anywhere, and I'm calling for him. And so I went downstairs at our walkout, and I'm calling for him down there, and thought maybe somehow he had gotten around to the front yard. So I'm looking in the front yard and starting to seriously panic. And so I called my husband. You know, what's he gonna do? And I said, I cannot find Baxter. I let him out. It's probably been a good 20 minutes now. He's not coming. I don't know. This is so bizarre. And he said, well, okay, maybe we have an invisible fence. He said, well, maybe his battery on his collar was dead. Maybe he's gone through the fence. He has never done that before. So why don't you get in the car and just kind of drive the neighborhood? And I said, okay, well, I'm still in my pajamas. I'm going to really quick go get in the car. And I was pretty panicky. I was, you know, pretty much to the point of tears. And